If you place a silver coin on the engine block of a running car, the vibration should knock it over instantly. But on a Rolls-Royce engine, that coin stands perfectly still. Today, this is the global benchmark for luxury, a brand synonymous with inherited wealth and elite status. But the man who created it didn't come from money. He spent his childhood performing manual labor in a state of total destitution. The mechanical precision found in these cars began as a survival mechanism. For Henry Royce, learning to fix broken machinery wasn't a choice. It was the only way he could earn enough to eat. Born in 1863, Henry Royce was just 9 years old when he lost his father and his home. To support his family, he spent his days delivering newspapers and working long hours as a child laborer. A turning point came at age 14. An aunt secured him an apprenticeship with a railway company, giving him access to workshops where he spent his nights teaching himself mathematics, carpentry, and the emerging science of electronics. He turned that knowledge into his first business at 21. Using £20 in savings, he opened a small workshop in Manchester, building electrical components like bulb holders and doorbells for a rapidly modernizing Britain. Royce had successfully escaped poverty, but his business soon faced a series of commercial and personal disasters that would force him to rethink his entire approach to engineering. In 1901, a flood of cheap foreign imports crashed the electronics market. Royce watched his business crumble, and under the intense stress, his physical health began to deteriorate. His doctor prescribed a period of rest and fresh air. To travel without physical strain, Royce bought his first car, a French-made Decoville. The machine was a disappointment. It was noisy, the engine frequently overheated, and the brakes were unreliable. To a man who had spent his life perfecting electrical circuits, these mechanical flaws were an insult. This schematic shows how Royce addressed those friction points. He took the car apart and reassembled the machine into his own 10-horsepower, 2-cylinder design, ruthlessly eliminating every source of heat and noise. Royce didn't see a broken car as a reason to rest. He saw it as a problem that demanded a flawless engineering solution. Royce had built a superior machine, but he lacked the social standing to sell it. He was an engineer in a workshop, not a businessman with access to the wealthy elite. He found his missing link in Charles Rolls. Rolls was a wealthy aristocrat who ran a high-end car dealership and immediately recognized the value of Royce's silent, reliable engines. Together, they formed Rolls-Royce. In 1906, they launched the Silver Ghost. To prove it was the best car in the world, they drove this exact model for 24,000 kilometers straight. It completed the test without a single mechanical issue, setting a new standard for automotive reliability. By combining Royce's engineering with the marketing reach of the British upper class, the brand became a fixture of high society. The partnership was shattered just a few years later. Charles Rolls died in a plane crash in 1910, and shortly after, Royce was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given only 3 months to live. Royce survived the surgery and spent his recovery directing his engineers from his bed. He refined the Silver Ghost and commissioned the Spirit of Ecstasy mascot to ensure every car left the factory with the brand's prestige intact. When World War I began in 1914, the market for luxury cars disappeared. Royce responded by cladding the Silver Ghost chassis in 8mm steel plates and adding machine guns, creating armored vehicles that could survive the desert heat. The same chassis was smooth enough to carry stretchers, saving thousands of lives as a battlefield ambulance. Seeing that Britain relied on foreign companies for flight, Royce spent the war designing his own aero engines. His first, the Eagle engine, proved to be lighter and more reliable than anything used by the competition. Royce had demonstrated that his approach to mechanical design worked just as well at 20,000 feet as it did on a paved road. He had learned to apply the same rigor to any machine, regardless of the stakes. By the time the Phantom launched in 1925, Rolls-Royce was the undisputed king of the luxury market. Henry Royce continued refining these designs until his death in 1933, leaving behind a company that dominated both land and sky. Which brings us back to that balanced coin. The absolute silence of a Rolls-Royce engine is often described as a luxury feature for the wealthy, but that silence is actually the sound of every vibration and mechanical flaw being systematically hunted down and removed by an obsessive mind. Henry Royce's name became synonymous with the elite, but his standards were forged in the workshops of the working class. He built this empire by applying a relentless mechanical standard to every crisis he encountered.